Hey guys, I'm Allison. I'm the Pampered Wife. Today I have a video with my sunscreens. I didn't even count how many, but before we get started with that, I know I've got quite a dramatic look on, so it's not typical for a sunscreen video. I had one of you guys request a while ago that I do a look using the Well People Jewel palette, and I was trying to dupe that. So I don't know how successful I was. I'm not going to go into it, but that explains the face. Let me know if you'd be interested in that video. I could do a different look, not so dramatic, hopefully. So to let you know some baseline things about the sunscreens I'm going to talk about today. All are mineral sunscreens. They all are reef safe, broad spectrum. They all wear great under foundation. They're all cruelty free. Some of them have blue light protection. I'm not gonna talk about that. All of them except two are gluten free. Those two are the Iris and Romeo and the Saie Sun Visor. I'll try to remember to point that out again as I go through it. All of these are tinted. Well, I'll just say all of them are tinted, even though two of them show up sheer on the skin. Oh, I should also tell you, before we jump in, that I live in a dry climate, very low humidity. I live in Colorado, and I have normal to dry skin, aging skin, with, some wrinkles and fine lines. What else? Just keep in mind the climate that I live in and the type of skin I have, and that would influence my opinion and thoughts on these products. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump in. Choosing what order to put these products in was quite a thought process. I thought maybe I should do it from tint and coverage, maybe I should do it from price. And by tint and coverage, I mean as far as like makeup coverage or sheerness, not SPF. The lowest SPF I have, I believe, is 25 and the highest is 47, so there isn't really a big range. How I've decided to do it is from finish. I started with the least dewy or the most matte finish and tried to end with the most dewy finish or least matte finish. I hope I said that right. So the first one on my list is the Tula SPF. This one is an SPF 30. They say it's best for oily, normal, and combo skin. I completely agree with that. It does contain S6 Pro Complex, which is Tula's proprietary blend of pre and probiotic extracts. They claim it's weightless and has a non-greasy feel. I would agree with that. You do need to shake it, and you can hear the ball. It's got a neat shape to it with the curved top. You can stand it up on your counter. And I'm just gonna look at my notes here. You can see when I put it on, it does have a yellowish cast to it that really may help to brighten the skin, but it definitely doesn't leave a white cast or really show up at all, at least on my skin tone. I did just put it right here. I wear a moisturizer underneath. I don't find it moisturizing. It's not exactly drying, but I do prefer to wear a moisturizer underneath. This is not particularly emollient or moisturizing, so their claim that it's best for oily or combo skin or normal skin would be correct. The finish I found really depends on the moisturizer. If I don't wear a dewy moisturizer underneath, then the finish is definitely closer to matte. It's never a dewy finish or, glowy. It's always on the more matte side, but it can be amped up with the moisturizer that I put on underneath. It doesn't really provide much coverage, but it does leave my skin looking smoother, and it's really more of a velvety finish. I don't need to powder it. And I like to wear this on days when I am gonna wear a foundation on top of it, not because I'm not comfortable with the finish, but because since it does dry down so completely, it does feel weightless on the skin, and it doesn't feel like I have a lot of product on my face when I go and I put something on top of it. I think I said that I really like all these, but I have to say all of these sunscreens are pretty much my favorites for different things or for the same things. I love all of these genuinely. The next one is the Josh Rosebrook Nutrient Day Cream Tinted Cream Facial Moisturizer broad spectrum SPF 30. So this has a lot of gorgeous ingredients and oils in it. I was surprised when I read the ingredient list how many beautiful oils it has, because it's not at all, for me, moisturizing, even though it's supposed to be a moisturizer and work for all skin types. They describe it, or Josh Rosebrook describes it as a moisturizer with SPF and also light makeup. It doesn't smell great. It is definitely more on the matte side. It's sort of a natural finish, but it's definitely more on the matte side. It does have a tint that I think would really be too deep for a lot of skin tones and might show up on a lot of deeper skin tones. It doesn't, I think I already said it doesn't smell great. It's creamy, but it's not emollient. It dries down quickly, and it dries down completely. Like, I don't need to powder this either. So I get the idea of the light makeup in the sense of the tint that it leaves on your skin, but I don't find it really blurring or creating a prettier finish on my face. So it's not really like a foundation, and it's not really blurring. It really just adds a tint. And I know I just said all of these are my favorites. They changed the formula on this a while ago, and I thought I really loved the new formula, but probably of all these products, and it pains me to say this is my least favorite one, just because I have, normal to dry skin. It's not moisturizing. The tint is a little strong. I'm not crazy about the scent, and there are just other beautiful products here, so that kind of makes me sad. But when I read the ingredients, I feel like it should be more moisturizing or feel more moisturizing than it is. I think this is the one that I have on today. Not that you can see it, but it is weightless, like the easy to wear under makeup. Next, I've got the Physicians Formula. It's a pressed powder, and it comes with a little flat brush in the bottom of this case. It also has a mirror. I typically use a regular brush, either a fluffy powder brush or a densely packed short-haired powder brush, and really buff it into the skin. I like to apply quite a bit of it to make sure I get the full coverage. Did I say this is SPF 30? It's talc-free. It comes in 3 shades. I have the shade Creamy Natural, and none of them are super deep. They claim it's an airbrushed finish, and I totally agree with that. It is a beautiful finish. I really, really like this. It's harder to know with a powder if you're getting the, a good amount on your face. So I typically do put some kind of moisturizing SPF underneath and then wear this as a foundation, like on beach trips or days when I'm gonna be outside a lot. It's more of a satin matte. It's not completely matte. It really is that airbrush finish, and it's not drying on the skin. So it's very comfortable and looks beautiful, and I love it. I really love this one. I would say you get a light to medium coverage with it, by the way. I think they say light. Actually, I didn't note that, what they said on the interwebs. I didn't say what kind of finish they claim, but I can get a good medium coverage with it. So next for finish is the Tower 28 Sunny Days, and this one has 14 shades. I have 2 shades that I mix because there isn't really a good shade for me. In the swatch in the video, I've included the shade 25, which is Ocean Park, but for me, I mixed that with 15, which is Melrose. These are really good for sensitive skin or problem skin. It's accepted by the Eczema Association, which I believe this is the only foundation that is accepted. So caveat, this is a foundation, even though it's an SPF. So make sure if you're wearing it as your only SPF that you apply the amount of this that you would apply in SPF, which then makes it really expensive, by the way. So either wear an SPF under it or make sure you wear enough of it. They say it's a light coverage, which I could get at least a light closer to medium coverage with a natural finish, and it does have a gorgeous natural finish. It smooths over texture beautifully. I haven't used it in a while on dry skin patches, so I don't exactly remember how well it does for that, but I do moisturize underneath, and it smooths over the skin. It gives light coverage that you can build up closer to a medium coverage, and it's a gorgeous natural finish. I Really enjoy this. It's no scent. It looks gorgeous on the skin. It really does. My beef with it is that there isn't a shade for me, which typically isn't a problem in most foundations. So, you know, I'm pretty lucky in that way. But yeah, this is just a beautiful natural finish. So it's like a satin matte finish as well. Just a natural, not dewy, not matte, just like your skin, but a gorgeous, smoothed finish. By the way, I don't need to powder the sunny days. It dries down nicely. It's not drying, but it does dry down nicely, and I don't need to powder it. Oh my gosh, my hair is so frizzy. I really tried to smooth it out to go with the look. Okay, moving on. So the next one would be the Iris and Romeo Best Skin Days. This is the pocket size. I have the shade number 5. It's SPF 25 and it does come in 12 shades. Iris and Romeo describes it as light color with a healthy, dewy glow, or light correction, light coverage. Sorry, light coverage with a healthy, dewy glow. It does have light to medium coverage, a beautiful finish. It's a healthy looking skin, but on me it's not dewy. If I use it as it's meant to be skincare, moisturizer, sunscreen, and foundation. So if I don't put a moisturizer on underneath, I don't find it particularly moisturizing. And again, I'm in a dry climate, so I can imagine it's different elsewhere. And I don't find it to be dewy, but it is a gorgeous finish. It's a beautiful emollient texture that's really easy to spread out. It feels like a moisturizer when you're spreading it out, but the coverage is definitely more than a tinted moisturizer. It is more like a foundation with light to medium coverage. So yeah, another good one. And I love that they offer that one in the pocket size, which I just showed you, and a full size. So it's great for travel, and you can also try different shades and not spend a ton of money trying to figure out which is the best shade. The next dewiest product would be the Josie Maran Argan Daily Moisturizer SPF 47. This one is definitely good for dry skin. I would not recommend it for oily skin, although you could try it. I mean, this is the one that I actually just squeezed on or pumped onto the back of my hands today because it just feels so nice. It has a luminescence to it. Josie Maran describes it as a warm, radiant kiss of coverage, and I would agree with that. It's just beautiful. It definitely does tint my skin, and so I'm curious to know if it shows up on some people. You know, it shears out on me, but it does leave a tint. It feels like skincare when you're applying it. Feels moisturizing. It does leave a teeny bit of tackiness like a moisturizer would on my skin. So sometimes I powder it, sometimes I don't. It's not really skin blurring, even though it adds a tint, and it does have that dewiness, so that can sort of have a blurring effect. It also does have a scent. It's not artificially fragranced, but it does have a sweet sort of scent to it. Not that sweet tart, sweet scent that a lot of products have that I hate. It's just a scent that you'll definitely notice, but it dissipates. And this was actually, I think, my favorite SPF for 2021. I love this. And it does come in glass packaging. So did the Josh Rosebrook and the Iris and Romeo. Now these next couple are going to sort of compete for dewiness, but I went ahead and put the Saie Sun Visor next. This is an SPF 35 and it's best for anyone except oily skin. This is definitely moisturizing. Saie claims that it shears out but absorbs easily for a dewy complexion, and I would completely agree with that. It definitely has a gorgeous gel sort of texture that does feel moisturizing. There's absolutely no tint, and it's just a dewy finish that you just look radiant, and it's beautiful and comfortable. And again, I would want to powder it on some days or just put it under a foundation that is more mattifying or, you know, not as thick and dewy and moisturizing. So this is definitely a moisturizing sunscreen, and I would not put a moisturizer under this, nor would I under the Josie Maran or the rest of these. These are definitely now the moisturizers. So next I will go in with the Suntegrity 5-in-1 Tinted Sunscreen Moisturizer. It is an SPF 30. There are 4 shades. This particular one is the shade Golden Light. They do not go deep at all. The shade range is pitiful. Even this isn't really the right shade for me, but it does sheer out. It doesn't become sheer. This is actually what I typically wear in the summer as my foundation, or had worn in the summer as my foundation. I now have other options. So I wouldn't say it becomes sheer. They also claim it's a weightless texture with dewy finish. Definitely has a dewy finish, but the texture is not weightless. I feel it on my skin. It's a thicker product. It feels a teeny bit greasy until you spread it all the way out. It will stay tacky on your skin. I definitely like to powder this, but it's still really nice. It's a moussier, you know, sort of a whipped formula, and it, you know, it tints and provides coverage and is dewy. It's really nice. I would not wear a foundation on top of this. I guess if you don't use too much of it and rub it all the way in, then it does dry down more to a weightless finish, but I tend to use a lot of sunscreen, and so for me, it stays, it doesn't shear all the way out, and it does stay a bit tacky. But here, rubbing it out on my hand, it actually feels like they describe it, and it looks more sheer with the tint. Maybe I use too much. Last but not least is the Kinship Self-Reflect Probiotic Moisturizing Sunscreen SPF 32. Now this one is described as good for all skin types, especially blemish-prone skin, which I don't get. I wouldn't want to put this on if I were blemish-prone because, well, I'll go into that in a second. They describe it as lightweight, sheer, moisturizing SPF with a glowy finish. It's sort of tinted, although it's not actually tinted on the skin. It's not completely white. I don't know if you can see that. It is a little bit peachy, and then when you rub it out on the skin, it leaves a gorgeous reflective kind of finish. So in that way it can be skin blurring. It's thick and tacky and moisturizing. I would not put it on blemish prone skin. That's just me. I guess look at the ingredients and decide for yourself. It almost is a bit white casty, but it does sheer out, and it's almost like the longer, I'm smelling it. I think maybe it smells a little like vanilla. It does have a bit of a scent, very faint, but it's there. I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, the cast dissipates if there is one at all, at least on my skin. I do powder it. So just to let you know, to recap, these are all, like I said, cruelty-free and gluten-free. The only ones that are not gluten-free that I noted are the Iris and Romeo and the Saie Sun Visor. I believe they're also all vegan except for Tula, Josie Maran, and potentially the Saie Sun Visor. I hope this was helpful. I know it was hard to see the finish in the swatches I did, but I really did rank them from most matte to least matte, or least dewy to most dewy. If you have any questions about these, please, write them down below. I'm sure there's information I left out. All of these also have like star ingredients and things they're supposed to do for your skin. Let me know what your favorite sunscreen is. I personally prefer a tinted sunscreen because then in the summer I just have less to put on my face. I can wear it as a foundation or, a tinted moisturizer situation and just run out the door. I hope you enjoyed this video and find it helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it at any point. I would love to have you subscribe. Also, let me know if you do want to see the dupe for the Well People Jewel palette. And as always, I hope you find some time to pamper yourself today. Bye.